Once upon a time, Chioma Uma used to believe that failure was for the weak. She walked with her shoulders back, chin high, and heels clicking like a judge's gavel on the courtroom floor. In the heart of Lagos, where dreams are made and broken beneath the weight of traffic and ambition, Chioma stood tall as a symbol of triumph. The youngest partner at her law firm, she had it all: power, wealth, beauty, and the fear of anyone who dared to cross her. Her name opened doors. Her gaze closed mouths. She was the storm and the silence after. But pride is a strange thing. It feeds you till you're full and then waits patiently until you starve again, this time, not for food, but for meaning. Chioma's fall didn't come with lightning. It began quietly, like a crack in glass. A young associate named Adeebi had spoken up during a strategy meeting, suggesting a clause that might benefit both parties in a tense real estate case. It was a simple, well-thought-out idea. But Chioma, perhaps offended by the junior's confidence, dismissed it with a cold smirk. "This is not a classroom," she had said, her voice like ice. "When you fought in the big leagues, then you can speak." The room had laughed. Adeebi had lowered her head, lips trembling. And in that moment, something shifted. It wasn't visible, not yet. But the air around Chioma had changed. Over the next few months, she noticed the change. Clients grew distant. Partners began making decisions without her. The warmth in the office turned to chill. And then came the meeting, the one where she was told her contract was terminated. There was no explanation beyond vague words: "Your leadership has become difficult. We are moving in a different direction." Just like that, the empire she'd built with sleepless nights and iron fist crumbled. One morning she had a driver, an office, and a condo overlooking the Atlantic. The next, she was back in her late mother's bungalow in Suralere, with peeling paint and leaking taps. She didn't even know where her cleaner kept the mop. The silence was deafening. No phone calls. No emails. No friends dropping by. Chioma tasted the bitterness of being forgotten. She tasted the dry dust of irrelevance. She tasted, truly, the ash of her pride. Pride doesn't fall gently. It crashes. It burns. And when the smoke clears, you find yourself surrounded not by enemies, but by the ruins of your own making. She tried to find work again, freelance law consulting, writing proposals, even offering legal aid, but doors stayed shut. Her name, once gold, now rang with whispers. She felt cursed, though no one had cursed her. She was simply humbled. One hot Sunday afternoon, she walked past a small church down the street. She never went inside growing up. Her mother had tried, but Chioma always said, "God helps those who help themselves." Now, she wasn't so sure. She sat in the back, the choir singing like voices from another world. She didn't weep. Not then. She just sat and let the words wrap around her like water over dry soil. After service, a short elderly woman smiled and approached her. "You're new," the woman said kindly. "I'm Mama Ruth. You came at the right time. We are sharing jollof and water." Chioma didn't want food. She wanted to be invisible. But something about Mama Ruth felt safe. Familiar, like the smell of her mother's old scarf. Over the weeks, Chioma returned, not for religion, but for peace. Mama Ruth took a liking to her. One day, after service, she invited Chioma to her home, a small flat with faded curtains and the scent of pepper soup hanging in the air. "I used to work at a bank," Mama Ruth said over lunch. "High heels, big grammar, stress. Then one day, stroke. Left me half paralyzed for months. I lost the job. Lost everything. But I gained this." She gestured at her small bookshelf, a Bible, notebooks, photographs. "Grace." Chioma didn't reply. She didn't know how to. But she kept coming back. Slowly, Mama Ruth gave her small tasks, helping widows with paperwork, assisting youth with CVs, organizing legal awareness sessions. It didn't pay. But it filled a part of her that money never had. One evening, Mama Ruth handed Chioma a worn leather-bound notebook. "Write," she said. "Your pain has weight. But your healing has wings." Chioma began to write. Not court memos or legal briefs, but stories. Real ones. About shame. About the taste of ash and the slow balm of grace. She wrote about losing everything, about learning how to greet again, how to apologize, how to listen. She shared one story on LinkedIn, almost as a whisper into the wind. To her surprise, it went viral. This is Deemma StoryTales. Please like, share, and subscribe. Thousands commented. This gave me hope. I'm in the ashes right now. Thank you for writing this. NGOs reached out. Universities asked her to speak. Even some of her old colleagues messaged her, not with sarcasm, but respect. She never returned to the big firm. She didn't want to. She started her own initiative, Law and Light, providing free legal education to underserved communities. She used her voice, not to silence, but to uplift. Months later, she saw Adebi again, at a conference. Chioma took a deep breath and walked over. "I was wrong," she said. "I mocked you. I was proud. I'm sorry." Adebi smiled, her eyes kind. "We all grow, more. And sometimes, growth tastes like ash before it becomes grace." They hugged. That night, Chioma sat by the window of her mother's house and wrote the final words of her new book, The Taste of Ash and the Balm of Grace. She looked up at the stars and whispered a prayer. Not for wealth. Not for fame. But for mercy. She had learned that success without humility is hollow. That the ashes of failure can become the soil of growth. And that grace, when given space, can bloom in the most unlikely hearts. Chioma Uma was no longer the woman who ruled boardrooms. She was the woman who listened, who served, who healed others through the healing she received. And in that quiet, grace-filled life, she found the success no title could ever give. Sometimes, life will humble you. It will strip you of everything you thought made you strong. You will taste ash, bitter, dry, and humiliating. But in that moment, remember, ashes are not the end. They are the beginning of new soil. And in that soil, grace will grow if watered with kindness, reflection, and love. And when it does, you will not only rise again. You will rise transformed. See you next for another beautiful story from Deemma StoryTales. Thanks for watching, like, share and subscribe.